President John Dramani Mahama addressing the media for the first time after that Supreme Court ruling earlier today, dismissing his petition, describing it as lacking merit, and then also mentioning that the Supreme Court also earlier mentioned that the witnesses in that case, two of them gave irrelevant accounts, and then one also, endorsing the fact that former President Akufo-Addo had 50% of the vote. So amongst others, he's been addressing issues as put out today by the court. As much as he's aware that he's legally bound by the ruling, he disagrees with processes and ruling of the court. He starts by talking about Jean Mentor's refusal to testify that baffles many. Amongst others, in sharp contrast to the readiness of Afarijan to testify when the same happened in his instance. And also he mentions that the commissioner of the EC has no reason to be in office, amongst others, mentioning that EC chairperson Jean Mensa has no reason to be in office, and ends by saying that the votes will continue to spur him on for victory into the future and beyond. We'll get summaries of everything that he's been talking about shortly, but for him, there's a stab in the heart of transparency and accountability from what we've seen transpired. Well, so my colleague Maxwell Agbagba joins us from the offices of former President John Dramani Mahama for some more reactions from those who are present at that office for the media briefing that has just ended. Maxwell Agbagba, so you can tell us about the personalities who were present for this particular briefing. Hello, Maxwell. So it appears that Maxwell Agbagba is unable to hear us shortly, but we'll go back to him. But Mr. Mahama says that this particular incident that happened in the court with Jean Mensa not testifying or refusing to testify is a dangerous precedent for the other heads of institutions, and that it appears that justice seem not to have been done with what the ruling was giving today. But I'll try again and see if Maxwell Agbagba joins us back on the line. Maxwell, I hope you can hear me this time. I was asking about personalities present today for Mr. Mahama's briefing.
Well, I've seen quite a number. I've seen quite a number of party bigwigs who are here to support the former President John Mahama. On the days right now, I can see from here former Chief of Staff Julius Debra. I can also see campaign chairman for the 2020 elections, Professor Joshua Alabi. He is also here. I've seen Dominic Ayene. He is also here. I've seen quite a number of people. The NDC's General Secretary, Johnson Esiedu-Nketia, is also here. Marietta Bro upon is also here. Quite a number of dignitaries, were here to support the former president, even as he made a speech. Also here, though, are party supporters who are gathered here. In fact, if you come to the NDC presidential candidates party office here in Cantonment, outside it's filled with cars because they didn't allow any vehicles, to come in. Party supporters are still hanging around, hoping to have a tete-a-tete with the former president even before he leaves this place. And as you rightly hear him mention, he spoke for close to 30 minutes. And the crux of, the statement in that 30 minutes delivery is that he disagrees with the process of the trial and the subsequent ruling of the court. He says, although he's bound to abide by the ruling, by the verdict of the court, he disagrees with the process of the trial and the ruling of the court. Okay. And he took time to actually address some of the issues that came up during the Supreme Court, hearings. And he's been taking on the Electoral Commission. He says that the profound moment was when the Electoral Commission opted to evade from public scrutiny. He says that was a clear stab in the heart of transparency and accountability. Another thing that he talked about, okay, so just, if you can hear in the background, he's leaving right now. At this point, he's leaving. His party office here,
Okay.
his campaign office here at Cantonment.
Okay. Maxwell Agbagba there, my colleague that covered that press briefing, my former president, John Dramani Mahama, for us. So amongst others, the law should not be an instrument of partisan politics. That's according to John Dramani Mahama. Let me bring in lawyer Martin Pebu. We're interacting with him before we had to go to the Cantonment office of Mr. Mahama for that briefing. I'm sure you took time to listen to Mr. Mahama. Amongst others, he has concerns about the process and, of course, disagrees with the ruling of the court also. Your initial reaction to comments made by Mr. Mahama?
Well, so the comments are generally what you would expect from a losing party in a court case. You see, he has to try to ratchet up the interest and the enthusiasm of his base. So, like we would say, charging the base. So, if you look at the speech, basically, that is what it's thought to do. And I think he did it commendably well. Yes. You know, Mr. Mahama has always been a great communicator. So, it's not surprising that he did it well. And, you know, as he spoke, I mean, I kind of felt some goosebumps. I'm like, that is Ghana. You see, there is space also for the vanquished to, you know, air his grievance. You see, and that's the beauty of our democracy. The last time it was on the other foot. Today is Mr. Mahama. I was looking at it, I was like, wow, you see how it's going. So that's Ghana for us. We are always, I mean, at least in this particular aspect, getting it right. So it's good. It's good for our democracy.
Well, so there are portions of his statement where he talks about Mr. Asiedu Nketiah's testimony being mutilated by the justices of the Supreme Court, at some point also mentioning that it was misconstrued, seeming like Mr. Asiedu Nketiah was a star witness, also mentioning that this ruling will go into the books where students will have to learn, and that it is befuddling the internal contradictions in this particular ruling. First, let's talk about the mutilation of Asiedu Nketiah's testimony. Is that factual?
Emefa, let's understand something here. You see, the case itself in the Supreme Court was not purely legal. It had huge political dimensions. So in the same way, this speech, Mr. Mahama is not a lawyer. So it's a political speech. I remember President Trump and...
he may not be a lawyer, but he was speaking to facts of the case.
That is his opinion. Grant him. You see, let's understand that. That's the way Ghana has always been. Let's not forget, even when Kwame Nkrumah wanted to get independence for us, you remember his detractors, people who sent a delegation to England to tell the Queen we are not ready and the rest. So the point I'm making is that Ghana has always been like that. Diversity of opinions. Allow him. You remember the Supreme Court through Justice Kulendi was it yesterday? Yeah, came to reiterate the fact that you can critique the judgment. So that is the way he sees it. I don't think it's my place to say that, no, that's not it. That's his opinion. He's entitled to it. So at this juncture, and as I say, he's doing it to charge his base. Who am I at this level? That's the way he sees it. You see. So let's grant him that.
Okay.
That's always been the game.
Well, I was hoping we'll speak to matters of law also as part of education, because there are supporters, both sides, that are listening, so that we know whether indeed Mr. Asiedu Nketiah's testimony was mutilated or misconstrued by the judges.
Yeah, so Emefa, the thing is that, you know, the judgment so far, it was read orally. We followed, okay? Something you listened to. I haven't had the opportunity to dissect it again. So at this juncture, I think I don't want to rush into who is right. That's why.
Okay, I respect that. But I'm sure before we went for that speech, we had mentioned at least this will be the third time that we've talked about matters of review. And it doesn't seem like it came up. At least I also followed. But I don't know if you picked up something that I didn't in terms of review.
He indicated he would not go for a review. You see where he did it. He said that had settled on their hopes.
Mm-hmm.
There was a phrase used, very metaphorical. The one he said their hopes, so let's say in ordinary everyday English, you say their hopes are dashed. But I said that same thing would illuminate their past in future. That was it. That was the indication that I couldn't write it down. But
that there will be no review.
That part of it.
Exactly.
Right?
So at least that is settled. There will be no
Yes.
review of this particular judgment of the Supreme Court.
That's correct.
We are grateful. We are indeed grateful for your time, Lawyer Martin Pebu. And of course, subsequently, we'll get to interrogate some of the claims and issues raised by former President John Dramani Mahama at that press briefing. In case you missed it, he mentions, and I quote, even though he's legally bound by the ruling, he disagrees with processes and ruling of the court. He also mentions that EC chairperson, Madam Jean Mensah, or I should say EC commissioner, has no reason to be in office. Also raises concerns about how Mr. Asiedun Ketia's testimony was mutilated by the court and some misconstrued at some point. And then also mentioned how there were internal contradictions in that ruling. And that is a stab in the heart of transparency and accountability. Madam Jean Mensah's refusal to testify. We have some reactions from the Volta region and then also the Ashanti region to today's Supreme Court ruling. I'll take that briefly and then we'll go for a quick break and then we have business with George.
It's not much different from the onset, the thoughts I have about the whole process. As they've mentioned, the petitioner didn't have a strong case from the beginning, so I wasn't expecting anything different from the verdict today, so that's what I can say.
If you ask me, I think it's expected. I am not saying it's a desirable one.
Yeah, now I think everything is clear to the public. Your homework is supposed to be done well to avoid all these things. And you know, everything was clear at the Supreme Court concerning the petition. So I think they are right. They are right. They've done their job. That's all.
I wasn't expecting the court to overturn the election result. I would have been very much surprised if that actually...
The verdict today was quite expected, and the judges gave their decision because of the evidences that they had. So they are the representatives of the law. So if that is their final verdict, then so shall it be.
So that's the reaction from the Volta region. We'll go to the Ashanti region now for some reactions as well.
The ruling is the best so far.
My expectation, it is unfair.
Whatever they say today, we take it in good faith.
The judges have done a very good job. They have delivered on their promise to judge the case within the stipulated time. Secondly, they, given a unanimous decision, tells that justice has been served, in my opinion, because at the end of the day, if it had been like what we saw in 2013, then you would have said, okay, they had some amount of a case. But unanimously, they're saying that the case should be dismissed, which means that the petitioner could not prove in any way that there is a case.
The ruling is the best so far. From the beginning, from the genesis of the case, we saw that Mama has lost, but he was forcing. But still, we all know that he has lost. So the judgment is the best.
I feel pity because this is not the way that I expect it. I went there to vote peacefully and to choose a leader. But this is what we are observing now, and it is unfair.
As compared to that of Nana Akufo-Addo, we see the vast difference. Personally, I think they just went there to sustain their support.
Reactions from the Ashanti region also still to come here on the abridged version of Newsnight. NDC National Communication Officer Sami Jemfi rallies party supporters to kick out leadership of minority in Parliament, accusing them of betrayal following the controversial approval of some ministerial nominees. We have reactions. We've been hearing from some MPs also responding to it. I'll go for a quick break. When we return, we have business.
I forgot my boss say in client come, but I don't get credit on my phone. I beg, I go for use your phone. I'm laughing like killer. In this day and age, your excuse for not making that call is that you don't have credit. Oh, then you are not a Vodafone customer. Because you get a boozing 500% bonus anytime you buy credit via Vodafone Cash or Vodafone Credit Transfer. It's like you didn't hear me well. 100%, 100%, 100%, 100%, 500%. Hey, my friend, you don't have an excuse, oh. Excuse no shit. Dial *110# or visit the nearest credit transfer vendor to buy credit because 500% bonus. Vodafone.
Ready? Hey, I say, mix the cement in correct proportional. Hey, contractor. Hey, what can you? What the so? Yeah, Malande. Sorry, I say. What do you change the year of return, Ankasa? Hey, contractor. A giant wasting ye. Hey, what would you me feel it too much? Who project here? Me friend gasem from top to down. Big a gasem. Hey, yes, solid pa. Hey, you see gasem ah. And for supi no wodo. On your quality no kwate. Yeah, you see gasem cement and your pudio womo. One package na. On no wahala. Include over 5,000 in your share. No more schools, no more clinics on your donation.
Never compromise on quality. Choose the value Gasm offers you always.
In these uncertain times, stay safe and follow all the COVID-19 safety protocols.
Gasm, the nation builder.
Thanks for staying with us. We go for business now with George Riafe.
Hi, Emefa, and coming up in business, economist Professor Godfrey Bobkin described the election petition ruling and the whole process as a major boost for investor attraction, and the tripartite committee yet to finalize on the minimum wage negotiations despite few days before the budget presentation that is next Friday. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all your office insurance, and Allianz Insurance. Let's now get the details of the business. Well, economist Professor Godfrey Bobkin has indicated that the outcome of the election petition ruling and the whole process could be described as a major boost for the economy and investors' attraction. The Supreme Court today finally ruled on the petition by the NDC seeking for a rerun as none of the lead candidates crossed the 50+1% mark. However, the Supreme Court justices indicated that there was no strong evidence to grant their request. Professor Bobkin noted that this would tell investors that the various political actors believe in the legal system that will benefit the economy in the end.
This approach is far better than adopting protest demonstration, which could have made risk much riskier for us and increase the uncertainty together with COVID-19 and all the other challenges. So I think for choosing this approach, I think we need to commend them, similar to the same approach that the MPP adopted in 2013. So I think at the end of the day, it contributes to deepening our democracy. We have learned some lessons. We have built upon the experience of 2013 and then the elections of 2016, 2020. I believe that going forward, it enhances the predictability of our democratic system.
Professor Godfrey Bobkin is an economist. Now, the National Tripartite Committee is yet to finalize negotiations on the new daily minimum wage. Now, this is despite the fact that government will present the budget to Parliament that is next Friday. It was the expectation of industry experts that the negotiations should have been finalized by now for it to be factored in the presentation on March 12, 2021. However, business owners are kicking against any increase, insisting that they are not in a better position to finance any increase because of COVID-19. Meanwhile, the Ghana Employers Association has indicated that they are committed to reaching an agreement on these negotiations. Alex Frimpong is chief executive of the association.
The minimum wage issue is still pending, and the tripartite partners have engagement to determine the way forward. So we'll share that information with the media and the public as and when it is due.
Some will say this is quite a difficult time for employers in determining this wage.
Very, very, very difficult. It has not been that difficult at any other time. This is really getting to a tipping point because of the issues and also the challenges that the economy has faced.
Ole Frimpong is chief executive of the Ghana Employers Association, now global, one of the world's leading multi-category delivery players, has extended its operations to Ghana. The startup entered Africa in actually 2018 and is currently present in 4 countries on the continent. Expansion into Ghana will make it the second market in West Africa and 5th in Africa, where the firm has established its operations. The on-demand platform is hoping to make the lives of Ghanaians easier by providing them access to convenient delivery service in the wake of the COVID-19. Here is General Manager Pelen Bedu.
So the reason why we chose Ghana as our next destination to expand is because we actually realized that we have a market here that's very much interested in technological services. We have a lot of that are thriving, and also we have key vendors in terms of restaurants where we have the opportunity to reach out to customers. We realized that the current service offering was also good, but then the prices were on the higher side. So customers were limited from being able to utilize the service because of a cost barrier. So we decided to come into the market to really focus on making sure that we deliver an affordable service.
General Manager of Glovo Ghana, Pelen Budu, there explaining to us this innovation that is going to go a long way to make the lives of Ghanaians easier when it comes to on-demand services as well and delivery industry. And that's all for business on Newsnight. Back to you, Emefa and Kojo.
That's the sound of my heart breaking the first time I said I wanted to be a cassava farmer. But this was when I graduated with first class honors in agriculture. Oh, my first harvester. The last harvester I ordered online. That's people seeing my fresh cassava page on Facebook and Instagram. And endless number of calls for my quick fufu all year round.
There are beautiful connections that bridge humble todays to amazing tomorrows on Ghana's #1 network, everywhere you go.
Our 130-year journey at Allianz has seen our operations growing to cover over 92 million Allianz customers in over 70 countries worldwide. Allianz Life Insurance Ghana, a subsidiary of Allianz Group, has put together a wide range of insurance packages to suit the pockets of every Ghanaian individual, family, group, corporate body, as well as their employees. Kindly call us on 030-2267-892 or 059-144-9686 or visit our website www.allianz-gh.com for more enquiries. Allianz Life, we secure your future.
To celebrate Ghana's Independence Day, we are offering incredible savings to select destinations around the world. Benefit from our all-inclusive fares starting from $574 valid until 8th March 2021. Travel safely with the airline you can rely on. Book today at QatarAirways.com. Terms and conditions apply. Qatar Airways, going places together.
Joy 99.7 FM.
Thanks for staying with us here on Newsnight. And they brazenly defied the leadership of the NDC and betrayed the collective good for their selfish interests. Harsh words from NDC National Communications Officer Sami Jemfi, who is accusing Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin, Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu, Minority Chief Whip Muntaka Mubarak, and some other NDC MPs of betraying the party. The reason? Not exactly clear, but Mr. Jemfi alludes to the approval of some of the ministerial nominees in a strongly worded statement on his Facebook page today. The NDC communication officer said they defy the NDC leadership for their selfish interests. Joint News editor Araba Kumsin joins me in studio with details of this statement. So why this attack on the NDC leadership in Parliament?
Well, Emefa, the statement is quite lengthy, so I'll read portions of it. It starts by saying, "Comrades, the betrayal we have suffered in the hands of the Speaker of Parliament, Right Honourable Alban Bagbin, the leader of our parliamentary group, particularly Honourable Haruna Idrisu and Honourable Muntaka Mubarak, and dozens of our own MPs, is what strengthens me to work hard for the great NDC to regain power. They brazenly defy the leadership of the party and betray the collective good for their selfish interest, and we must not let them succeed in their parochial quest to destroy the NDC, the party that has done so much for them and all of us.
So he talks about cleansing the leadership. Is he saying they must be kicked out?
Indeed, he does. And he says this is the time for us to insist on the right changes in the leadership of the NDC group in Parliament or forget about them completely. The current leadership have lost their moral authority to lead and are not fit to sit on the front bench of the NDC side of the House.
Okay, so we've tried to reach out to Mr. Sami Jemfi. What did he say?
Well, he has declined comment for now. He will speak later because today the focus was on the NDC 2020 presidential candidate, John Mahama, response to the Supreme Court ruling. So he has agreed to speak to the issue at a later time.
But we do recall that the party issued a statement ahead of the debate on the nominees. Remind us about what it said with regards to the minority's position on this particular issue.
Okay, so that meeting was held on Monday, March 1st, and it was an emergency National Executive Committee meeting. And at that meeting, one of the issues that came up was the ongoing vetting of the ministers, and it says it urged the NDC Parliamentary Caucus to be firm and resolute in their duties on the appointment committee, and it urged them to reject insincere apologies rendered by some of the nominees at the vetting committee sittings and hold them responsible for their actions and statements which they have made already.
And following that statement, we heard some parliamentary watchers raise concerns about the interference of the party in the work of Parliament. But it appears that Sami Jemfi is not alone in this. There are others in the party who've also been talking about this betrayal and hypocrisy on the part of some minority MPs.
Indeed, Dr. Clement Apak is one of them, and he's saying that he's asking a question. How did we go from heroes of the rank and file to villains? The anger directed at us by our own rank and file, the public mockery and ridicule that we sold our integrity is paralyzing. Sadly, the history we made on 7th January has been wiped out by the events of March 3rd. We will be remembered by our rank and file as the caucus that sold out. And Emefa, he's asking the Council of Elders of the NDC to intervene in the matter.
And it appears Ras Mubarak has also been talking about this.
Well, yeah, he also agrees with Sami Jemfi, but he's also urging people to desist from attacking the speaker as well.
The anger of the base of the party is what I call righteous indignation. And as far as I'm concerned, there isn't a better time to look at a leadership change, a shake-up of leadership in Parliament than this particular moment, when clearly the base of the party feels let down, by the caucus in Parliament, when clearly, there's a feeling that, look, at this particular moment, the caucus hasn't provided, or the leadership of the caucus hasn't provided leadership. I know for a fact that there are a lot of NDC members in Parliament who are working their socks off, in the national interest, in the party's interest, and the rest of it. But in circumstances like this, when clearly, people feel hard done by, these are proceedings that we all saw on television, and
so are there specific things, for instance, that the NDC minority leadership in Parliament could have done to have changed the outcome of what we saw in Parliament yesterday, and this don't?
What accounts for the numbers that we had in Parliament yesterday? Clearly, something must have gone amiss. And even before you get to the numbers in Parliament yesterday, at the committee level, clearly they had not been strategic. I mean, a lot of the issues should have been put to a vote. They did not vote on it, which was most embarrassing when it came up on the floor of Parliament. If you follow the proceedings clearly, you realize that the Honourable Aveji was trying to explain that, look, they needed to have followed proceedings, but only, to be told that they had sidestepped, that they had some gentleman's agreement. Gentleman's agreement in whose interest?
That's Ras Mubarak, former MP for Kumbungu. Oreko Ampofo has the latest from the world of sports. Oreko.
Well, we're still talking about Indiana Stars defender Farouk Adams, who was in court for the first time on Thursday after being charged on 2 counts for careless and inconsiderate driving and then negligently causing harm. His lordship, Osei Kofi Amwako, who presided over the case, ruled that Adams be kept in police custody for a fortnight so the investigations can continue. But lawyer for the suspect, Bafo Akoto, has been speaking about the issue.
The court no options. Say others can say, "Oh, prison custody or police custody." I mean, the preference, no.
The court had the option of the prison or police custody. Our preference is police custody. You can tell that he's not well. He needs medical attention, and I think the police officers can't take care of him. As usual, the police is saying if he's released on bail, he will interfere with investigations. Of course, that's not true. They say he's a flight risk, meaning if he's granted bail, he will escape to another country. That is not true. We argued that he will not leave the country because he went to the police station to report the matter himself, and there's no way he can interfere with investigations.
Yeah, they will be done because on one and two, among call police station or report.
Well, in other news, the 2023 Local Organizing Committee for the African Games paid a courtesy call to the Jubilee House to update the President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo earlier today. Now, in response to the visit, the President assured the Local Organizing Committee that they would have the full backing of his administration. That's the
You will have the full backing of this office. This is a Ghana project. It's not just a sports project, it's a Ghana project. So you have to have the resources of Ghana entirely at your back so that you can do a good job.
That's President Akufo-Addo there, ending sports with Oreku Ampofo. Well, before we wrap up, some of your messages that you sent in via WhatsApp on 055-1111-997. This one from Maxwell Agbanyo in Accra, Newtown. He says the Supreme Court has spoken and that is final. I hope the verdict will go down well with all Ghanaians, else we face the danger of settling matters of the sort at the polling stations. This one also from Baba Cheman, and he says that as much as I can see the frustration on the faces of Samiji Mfi and some members of the NDC with regards to the approval of some persons, Samiji Mfi must be measured in his comment on same. We are on the sideline watching and anything they say shall be used against them. But wait, wasn't it the same NDC who were jubilant after the election of the speaker? So what has changed, he asks. And another one here says those NDC MPs on the appointment committee who defied the leadership of the party and voted to approve the likes of, so Kofi Seido, I don't really get where we're going with that. And this one from, it says, Ajingo, the man, it says, please tell Mr. Samiji Mfi that if your brother is trying to fight unnecessary fight, that doesn't mean you should follow him because he's your brother. That's Ajiman Joseph, Community 9 in Tema, sent that one in, trying to screen at the same time and read. And this one from Molanyo in Akwetia says the Supreme Court breaks down the clarification of the verdict to the layman's understanding to avoid some politicians throwing dust into our eyes with regards to today's